Welcome to the Ask Jordan podcast, answering your questions about selling on Amazon. Now, he's peeled off more prices than a family of shoplifters. From Long Island, New York, here's your host, Jordan Malik.
Hello, Amazon sellers. My name is Jordan Malik. This is the Ask Jordan podcast, 99th episode. 99 episodes. We're one episode away from hitting our 100th mark. Thank you so much for listening. Going to be a little bit long episode because I got a lot of things to cover today. It's been about a good month since we talked last. First thing that I have to do is, I don't know if you can hear this package right here. I'm not getting paid for this. I received a sample from a subscriber, honey toasted cashews from billshouseofnuts.com. billshouseofnuts.com. If you do a search for honey toasted cashews on Amazon, Bill's House of Nuts should be on there as well. billshouseofnuts.com. I'll open these on the air for the first time and try these out. Bill got right to my tummy, of course, by sending these. He did not pay me to do this. Oh boy. Very good, Bill. Wow. Very good and highly addictive. billshouseofnuts.com. Thanks for the honey roasted cashews. Honey toasted cashews, Bill. Boy, that's good. That's really good. So if you, Christmas coming, you want to get a good gift to somebody, you want to get these, because whoever you give these to, you'll have them eating out of the palm of your hand. No pun intended. So thank you so much, Bill. billshouseofnuts.com. By the way, if you're listening for the first time, welcome. This is the podcast where we only answer your questions about selling on Amazon now. Every episode, we answer a different question from you, the listener, about selling on Amazon. If you missed an episode, that's right. Go over to askjordan.net, askjordan.net. There's some previous episodes there, and there's a link to our archived episodes. Talking about house cleaning a little bit, I'm just getting around to answering questions. Apologies. Many of you have sent in questions via the voicemail hotline 5-6 months ago, and I'm getting around to those now, September 2015. If you feel that I've blown you off, I don't want to give that impression that you've sent in a question and I've blown you off. It's not my intention. If you think I've blown you off and you don't see your question answered in a previous episode, you can email me and I'll do everything I can to try to answer you in a timely fashion. Go to askjordan.net and click on the little envelope icon near the upper right-hand corner of the page and send me an email with your question. I'll do my best to answer. I can't answer everybody's question, but I do try to get everybody truthfully. There are probably one or two may fall through the cracks. And if I can't answer your question directly, I'll try to send you in the right direction. Also, as part of the housekeeping, kind of cleaning up here, many of you know that in episode 94, 95, I said my house is for sale. Many of you have sent me an email. Hey, Jordan, how are things going? And I appreciate that, because the reason that we have to move, one of the major reasons why we have to move, is my safety and my wife's safety and my family's safety here has been compromised by some illegal activity in our immediate area. And I can't really get much more into that. It's not illegal activity that we're doing. It's illegal activity that has threatened our safety here. Many of you have asked, Jordan, how's the house going? And yeah, it's still our house is for sale. It's been for sale for about a month now. It's a weird market in Long Island. Very weird housing market. I think the market is a little soft right now, but we do have it for sale. We are still going forward. We've been showing the house, hopefully getting an offer, but that hasn't had a solid offer, has not come in yet. And we are still planning on moving to Las Vegas. So I will keep you posted either on my podcast or if you subscribe to my newsletter over at jordanmalik.com/newsletter. And I'll keep you posted that way. But thank you for those of you who've been concerned. And nothing's really changed much. We're still kind of living in this environment outside of our house. It's not entirely safe. The police force and every imaginable authority that we've contacted hasn't really been of much help. And we're just trying to do the best that we can, living our lives. And there's people that have it a lot worse off. We have a situation here in our neighborhood where innocent people like myself or my wife have been threatened. But, there are people that, wake up one day and they're shot in the head or something. I'm certainly not complaining and trying to be a whiner. And my wife and I had planned this move a while back anyway. We're just doing it a lot sooner. But thank you again for asking. One more housekeeping piece. Some questions have been coming in. Folks ask me stuff that's already been answered. So please check out the previous episodes. Go to askjordan.net and you'll see the link to our archives. It's in like a blue font. Let's say archived episodes are here. For instance, Adam called in a question and said, Jordan, I'm doing $180,000 a year. Is it time to start a business as opposed to just use my personal info? The answer is yes. Cover that in episode 23. Billy called in inquiring about the book, or the penny book business. Is it a viable business? My opinion is no. Cover that extensively in episode number 76. Okay, so those are examples. So please check out my previous episodes if you do have a question, because it might already be answered. And truthfully, I don't know how much more the Ask Jordan podcast is going to be in its current format. I may change the format to be reviewing, seller tools, or reviewing seller courses, or reviewing Amazon seller hacks to help people grow their business. I'm not sure which form it's going to take. For now, we're going to try to get through all the questions and make sure we've covered basically every newbie/beginner question that you can possibly have in the podcast. Or if the demand is so high where people are still demanding, Jordan, don't quit, keep doing what you're doing, and I appreciate your feedback. Please, there's a link. If you just do a search for Ask Jordan Podcast on iTunes, there's a link there to leave a review. Please leave a review if you haven't already. And please, if you want to give me any feedback, you can leave it there, the review for the iTunes, or you can go to askjordan.net, send me an email, and shoot me a note letting me know what you think of the podcast and what you think I should do differently, if anything, or if you think I should continue doing it. Because it's weird, because I haven't done a lot of episodes in the past 60 or 90 days, but my listenership keeps going up. In the aggregate, more of you are listening to more episodes, and I haven't even put out a lot of content on my podcast the last 60, 90 days. I've maybe done 10 or 12 episodes. So I appreciate your feedback, and I do listen to everything. I listen and read your feedback, everything that does come in. So thanks for sticking with me through that last 10 minutes or so. And today's question is from, it's either Janet or Janice. And I apologize again, this question was submitted about a good 5-6 months ago. So I apologize. Janice, please go ahead with your question.
Hi, Jordan. This is Jana from Idaho. We've been listening to your podcast January since we started selling on Amazon, and it has been so helpful for figuring out all the crazy questions that you have when you start out. My question today is about product images. When you're adding a product to the Amazon catalog that doesn't already have a listing, you have to provide images, and my question is how to do that. I noticed that Amazon has some pretty specific guidelines, and I've also noticed that a lot of the pictures that I see for product images don't seem to follow those guidelines. So how do you get a professional image of your product done and edited with a completely white background? Do you have to do this? How come other sellers are cheating? If you could help me out with that, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much. Bye.
Janet, great question. So for those who are wondering what Janet is referring to, let's say you are adding a product to the Amazon catalog for the first time. So you are maybe a private labeler. You've made your own, shaving cream, or you've created a bundle of chocolate chips and marshmallows, and you're creating your own little bundle of products as a single product on Amazon. There is a procedure that you have to go through where you describe the product, and you upload the information, and you assign a barcode to it. You can buy a barcode from barcodestalk.com for under $5. And you have to use keywords, etc. And it gets to a point when you're uploading this information or typing it in, you're creating this entry into the Amazon catalog for the first time, where you have to submit images of your item. Okay. And I want to attack this from all different angles so you can kind of get a whole picture of what this is about, Janet, and anybody else who is interested. So yes, Amazon has rules on how that image can be. And if you go to Amazon's requirements, I'll leave the web address in the show notes for this episode. Amazon has some not lengthy, but some, moderately strict requirements for an image. The image must accurately represent the product and show only the product, right? You can't have anything in the background. And the background must be pure white background, not half white, not shaded, nothing like that. It's got to be pure white. The image size has to be 1,000 pixels or larger. Okay, I'll discuss that in a minute on either the height or width. So Amazon has these really strict requirements for images because they want the best buyer experience as possible. And also they want the buyer to be able to zoom in on the product. So the reason why they're asking for an image that's 1,000 pixels, it makes the image rather large when a customer wants to view a closer portion of it. Many products that you go to buy on Amazon today, no matter what you're buying, you can actually zoom in. You hover your mouse over the picture and it'll let you see a closer section of that image. So it gives you kind of like a close-up view of the product. So Amazon wants to give their users the best experience possible. And Janet mentioned something very insightful. She said a lot of products on Amazon that people have posted, they've added the products to the Amazon catalog. The images don't meet those requirements. Why is Amazon letting that happen? And the answer, Janet, is because there's so many, it's impossible for Amazon to keep up with all the products all the time. So yeah, there are folks that try to get away with, like, for instance, way back when I was first starting, I had a bundle and my background was a white towel. That's not a pure white background, because when you look at a background that's a white towel in a picture, you see different like gradient shades, right? It's not a pure white background. And you see a lot of that, and you see really lousy product photos, et cetera. And Amazon can't simply keep up with them all. I'm sure there's going to be a point in time, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years from now, that 99.9% of the products that have a bad image that don't meet the requirements, the Amazon requirements, will be flagged by Amazon or taken down or what have you. So when I want to create a picture, Janet, for a Amazon product that I'm adding to the catalog, I will take something as simple as my iPhone, my cell phone, which of course mostly everybody's phones these days have nice high quality camera lens on it. If you're still using like an old flip phone, probably this is not the procedure you want to do. You want to use your digital camera. And I will take the item out. Now just bear with me for a minute. Because it sounds a little funny. I'm going to take the item outside. Okay. And I will take the item outside and I'll put it in direct sunlight, because that's the best light for photography, as opposed to you trying to stage something and have no drop shadows like in your house, for instance. I mean, there's ways to do that. You have to buy like a lighting kit and all that. But I just try to bring the item outside, whether even it's a cloudy day or sunny day, doesn't matter, as long as it's direct sunlight. And I'll take a picture of the item and I'll email it to myself so I can work on it on my computer, for instance. When you use an iPhone, you take a picture and you email the picture to yourself and make sure the iPhone gives you like 3 selections: small, medium, large. I pick the largest size because I know I have to accommodate Amazon in that 1,000 pixel wide. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. The 1,000 pixel wide dimension on one side. So after that, I will fetch the image off my computer, and I'll email it to a company that's called, they used to be called removethebackground.com, I think. Now they're called Pixels, Pixelz. And what they do is they take that image and they actually just take your image and they optimize it. They get it ready for the Amazon listing. So they'll do it for you if you don't want to do it yourself. There's ways to do this yourself using software, etc. But I don't have those referenced in this show, but I will send the picture to company called Pixels, Pixelz, for $1.45. They receive your image, and I don't know if it's right away or it takes a day or so. They send back the image optimized for the Amazon listing. That means they remove the background. The background's pure white and everything is sized appropriately, etc. So that's one way to do it, is you can take the picture yourself, which many people do, outside or with very good lighting and a good lighting tent inside. And they have the company Pixels for $1.45 receive the picture and optimize it, etc. Or they'll use there's software out there where I guess if you're a Photoshop pro, you can remove the background and make the background back white yourself. Not something I'm skilled in. I'd rather pay the $1.45 and have somebody do it. And then there are companies now. And by the way, if you're an entrepreneur and you're good at photography and you know somebody who's good at photography, you want to be listening very closely, because there's only a handful that I found of reputable companies. I actually just found one reputable company that does this. They will receive your product and photograph it for you professionally. So, Janet, if you are selling, I don't know, Easter wreaths, right? A Christmas wreath. Let's just say your own handmade Christmas wreath, and you want it professionally photographed, you can actually ship it to this company that I found. And I have not used them, but they do seem to be the most credible, because they have an actual studio. They have very good Yelp reviews. I do not make any money by referring them to you. I have not used them myself. They're called upgradedimages.com. They're in California, upgradedimages.com. They're in my show notes as well. Again, no affiliation with them. I do not make money by referring you to them. I think it's like $30 or $40 for one photo. One thing you want to keep in mind is that Amazon likes to see multiple photos for optimum placement to have your product appear higher in the Amazon results. One of the things that you should have is a certain number of photos. I think Amazon likes to see 6 photos. Many people get away with 1, but if I was in your shoes and you have a product that you've invested thousands of dollars in, I'd be getting multiple different photos so you can upload like 4, 5, 6 photos of the item when you're creating the product in the Amazon catalog for the first time. So companies like upgraded images, and upgraded images is just one. I'm sure there's maybe a second or third one. That's why I'm saying you're going to see a lot more of this. Companies popping up that say, hey, we'll do send us your product. We'll do the photo for you, send you the digital images for you to use for your Amazon listing, and then we'll ship you the product back. Pretty fascinating, because that's one job that cannot be outsourced effectively, I think, in many cases, right? So for instance, the company Pixels that where you send the digital image and they remove the background and optimize your image for Amazon, that can be outsourced. And that's definitely is. It's probably outsourced to the Philippines or India. People are paid an hourly wage, which is very good over there. Maybe somebody's paid $5 an hour in the Philippines, which is, a semi-good wage. And that's all they're doing all day is optimizing those images and sending them back to the customers. But there are companies that, and this is a huge tangent right here. I'm telling you this if you know a photographer who does product photography already, and you want to partner with them, provide a service to them, you should think about jumping in, because there's only a handful of people that are based in the US that will do this, where you physically receive the product and you have it professionally photographed by that company. Not many people are doing that. And it's something that can't be outsourced if you're a seller in the US, because you want to ship a product and have it received by the photographer fairly quickly, 1, 2, 5 days. If you ship that overseas to China, you're not going to get that. So I know that sounds, a very simple and a simplistic way of me saying it. But anyway, that's the company, upgradedimages.com. You can ship the physical product to them. They'll photograph it for you. I think it's $30, $40 per photo. And maybe if you order more photos, each consecutive photo is discounted, and they'll send you the digital images and they'll send you their product back. But for many applications, particularly when you're starting out, it's just something you can do yourself in terms of taking the picture. And if you want to get really fancy yourself, there's a whole bunch of tutorials, I'm sure. Go to Google and type in, take a product photo at home, and you'll get a bunch of tutorials on how to create your own lighting tent, how to create the correct lighting, tricks, diffusing light, etc. I'm sure the information's out there. So Janet, thank you for that question. And by the way, thank you for the compliments about the podcast. And again, I want to apologize for answering this so late. You might have sent this in April and it's now 6 months later. So I apologize for that. Janet gets all 7 of my ebooks about selling on Amazon and eBay. Janet, just go over to askjordan.net, click on the small envelope icon near the upper right-hand corner. Send me an email so I know where to send your ebooks to. And if you, the listener, want to submit a question to the podcast and have a chance to win all my best-selling ebooks like Janet, call 516-619-ONLINE. That's 516-619-6654. Or go to askjordan.net, scroll down a little bit, look for the directions to submitting your question. Hey, thanks again for listening. This has been the Ask Jordan Podcast. We'll see you again in our next episode.